parcels
Same
up.
shit, different day.
We're live.
Oh wait, you didn't hear that.
I think they might have done.
Oh
dear. Might have only heard the last end of it.
But it is good.
SH1T.
It is good shit, isn't it?
It is. Well, hello everybody. Here we are again, day 16. Did anybody see my sermon?
No, I didn't.
I went off on one. I'm like, it's not good enough. Get out of the lab. Get into the field. It's not good enough. Stop staying in the lab. I'm afraid I got on one. So I'm happy now because I'm back in my little group. I'm back in my little Phoenix group where I feel a lot happier. Sarah is here. Hello. I think I just seen you. Hello, Facebook user. Vivian, hi again. Sarah, I know. Gary and I saw it. On our walk. We were walking the dog together this evening and we saw. I went, look at this, Gary.
That's awesome.
Even on our walk,
awesome.
Having a look at the Phoenix group. Well done. Well done. You started. Monica's here. Hello, Monica. Libby's here. Hi. Marianne's here. Another great one for the ages. Pia's here. Hello. Smiley face and waving, whoever you are, Facebook user. Grace is here. Hi, Grace. Nice to see you. Jolene Haggerty's here. I shared your video. I will share it again on my horse training page later too. People need to know. Which one's that? My sermon that I've just done on the Open Marvelous page. Oh dear. Somebody's got to stop me at some point. Honestly, I can't shut up. Hi, Trisha. Good to see you. Pierce says I shared it too. Oh dear. Hello, thank you, by the way, for sharing it. Thank you. Hello, Catherine's here. Hello from Sweden. Is that Therese? Hi.
It is Therese.
Kim Allaby's here. Hi. Yeah. Is that the same Swede? No, somebody else with that. It might be Therese twice. Celia's here.
Oh, that's Malin. I think I've pronounced that right. Malin.
Hello, Malin.
Malin.
Good to see you. Good to see you here this evening. Today, this afternoon, whatever it is. If you're in Sweden, it's this evening. So what are we going to talk about tonight, I wonder? Should we talk about the gut? I feel like it could be a gut night tonight. We'll see what everybody else wants to talk about. We'll let them.
My gut is not going to be healthy because I had pizza.
Did you?
Yes.
Oh, hello, Flopsy. Grace says, I'm so envious. I'm so envious of everyone's water herb buckets. And well, I tried it today and they tipped everything over. You know, Grace, try again.
Tires.
Tires.
Go to your local tire merchant and get some tires that they have to pay to get rid of. And then you can stick a bucket in the tire and then they're less likely to knock it over.
Yes, do that and try again. Try again. You must try again. Hello from Berlin. Hello again from Berlin. Oh, who's this name I've just seen pop up? Look at this, Gary. Do we recognize this name here? Look here. Who's this? Who is Mrs. Gillian Fayers? What are you doing here?
Hello. Time no see. Hello. How you doing?
Good to see you in the group, my darling. I'm sure you're going to bring a lot to this group. Thank you for joining us. Trisha says, gut it up. Let's do the gut. Sarah says, cannot thank you both, all the pros and every person on this page. You all push with the most inspirational support. I was broken in December and now I'm excited. After 30 years of owning horses, I'm now going to do it the Phoenix way and I won't go back. Oh, yes.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes, Sarah.
Well, what can we say? I think that we haven't even got to 5 minutes, and how can we top that? I think we should just go off air now. Our work here is done. Only joking.
Grace says, Gary, they were in tires. Oh no.
Oh,
Maybe you made them too marvelously herby for them, and they just try again. Try again. You can try it again. It's because it was new, you see. They were like, what's Grace bought? Is sweeties? Hi from Canada. I've just joined both challenges today. Is that Lydia?
that's Lydia. Yes.
Lydia Dubano. I don't know if I've said that right. You should have had your email, Lydia, and your t-shirts already ordered. We're that quick. You see? How marvelous is that? Good to have you on board, Lydia. Day one, you can watch day one today if it hasn't already, it'll popped into your inbox, and then day two tomorrow when it really begins proper. So let us know what you think. Keep coming in each day. Keep seeing if you can keep coming onto the lives, and tell us what you think, because we'd love to know. I've tried everything. No, I bet you haven't. There'll be other way. No, try again. Try something else. Yes.
In tires with a brick in the bottom.
Oh, there you go. Brick in the bottom. That's another way of doing it.
Yep.
Gillian says she's good. It's good to see you good. I'm good to see that you are good. How's Neil? How's he getting on? How are his motorbikes? How's all that happening? Vanya, hi Vanya. Karen Mackeson's here. Oh, and Elizabeth is here. Sorry, Karen, I missed you. They're coming up so fast. I missed them. Hi, Karen. Elizabeth is from Croatia. Yes, hello. I agree with Sarah. Been following Pete Ramey and company, and you have filled in all the gaps in my trimming. Thank you. That is lovely to hear. Randy's here. Hi all. Yeah, I'm on time. Well done, Randy. It's good stuff. I liked your post about the hoof clippings. Did you see the bit where I put, isn't it satisfying when you get the hoof clippings off all in one go?
All in one go.
So
OMG. We have a bit of a competition when we can, don't we?
Yes.
It's a bit sad.
It is. Well, when you do it time and time again, you got you got to somehow find something fun about it. When you see another white line with red blood in it.
When people are just sort of stood at the head, and I just think, oh my God, this is going to be a good one. This is going to be a good one. And there's me busy away nippering. And then when it comes off, and I just casually just fling it out at the side, just so they can see it. They say, "Sal, come off my horse."
Chuck it, yeah. Yes, it did. Chuck it into a dog's mouth. Headphones in, multitasking, feeding 21 residents and learning at the same time. For everybody that doesn't know Jenny from Minnehaha Haven, she does mean horsey residents and not people. So she does mean people. Excuse me. I'm hiding in the tack room. As always. As always. I'm just going out to feed the horses, darling. Won't be long. 2 hours later. What were you doing? Oh, God, it took me ages. They'd pooed everywhere. I had to clear it all up. Yes, you've been listening to that Lindsay and Gary again, haven't you? No. Could we look at Sarah Keeder's video you did? Okay, we can do that. We can do that. Do you want to do that now? Should we have a look at that now? I don't know how many people saw it, but I'm sure we can. Let's go see.
I went to look for it and I couldn't find it. I should have.
I think I actually have it on my. I've got it on my computer actually. So let's look at it on my computer. Oh, where have I put it? I've got to find it. Just chuck that one at me. And what's she called? Sarah, isn't it? Sarah. Okay, here it is. This is just a video I did for Sarah today. Did everybody see those really big, long hooves? It's 8 minutes long. Do I really want to play it for 8 minutes? Hold on a moment. Where are we? Window there. Share. If you can't hear the sound, then we're going to have to go and play it through Facebook. Can you hear the sound if I play this? Give me a thumbs up if you hear the sound.
No.
No?
If it did, it was not loud enough.
No, because it was coming. Right, okay. So I've got to do it through the Phoenix group then. For some reason, it doesn't play sound when you play it on your computer. But it does play it, I think, when we do it in the... Oh, God, how many posts since then? Lordy! Let me share my screen so that you can all see what I'm seeing. I've just got to Randy's post. There it is. Look at that. Do you see the redness here? Do you see this? This is bleeding in the white line. All right, so this is a bit of separation. So that's been through inflammation. Keep going down. Oh, that was a lovely video, wasn't it? This one here. Did everybody see? Oh, did you not see that? Oh, look at this. She's going. If you go, hang on, let me see. Can you hear that?
No.
There you go. Get on. Doesn't matter. You don't have to hear it. Just see it.
Can't see it. Nothing's moving.
Oh. God, there I am, look, enjoying myself, and you can't even see what I'm doing. Right, okay. Hold on a minute. Hold on. It's all going to pieces this evening, but it's okay.
It's getting warmer in here because I've got mozzies everywhere.
Now if I play it, right? So this is Zari, and this is what Zari turned up with, these feet. Can you see? Can everybody see that? God, what a mess. What a mess. Poor girl. Look at the feet. They did their first trim. They left the front alone. Look, just came down to the hard sole plane, got rid of those bars. And now, a little while later, even though the feet aren't brilliant yet, this is the difference. That's her trying to walk. Not very well. Now. Yeehaw!
Oh, how awesome.
That's what we want. That's what we want. Isn't that lovely? And then it's just lots of pictures of her doing that. But just if I go back to here, look. Just there. Oh, hello. Oh, come on, Lindsay. Pause, right? Do you see? Do you see that healing angle coming in? Do you see that she's, you know, they're letting that toe come down? Do you see that? Because they're not touching any of that. They're just touching the back and trying to get it properly balanced and all sorts of things going on there. So that is fabulous.
It is
well
fabulous.
done. So that's an achievement. Isn't that fantastic? Right. We'll go. Oh, God. I'll get there in the end. Right. Just thought I'd show you that. Right. Going down. That is an incredible video. Look at this. Have you seen this one where the goats are walking up the side of the hill, the side of the dam, and they're looking for salt? It's crazy. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So here's Sarah Leader's post, look. And this is what she saw. This is what she came to. And quite rightly, people were appalled at this. And it is appalling. But Sarah did a fantastic job. And one of the things that we talk about is we always say you trim it from the bottom, don't you? And that's how you get rid of it. But unfortunately, in a case like this has left the sole and gone north a long time ago. So let's go back and see if I can find my actual, because I think I whizzed past it actually. I think I whizzed past it right at the... Oh no, it's not there. I can't see it. Let me just...
No, I couldn't see it earlier when I went to have a look.
It's definitely... There it is.
Yeah, there it is.
I just needed to refresh. Can you see that?
Yep.
See it? Let me check.
I know that's us.
Yeah, there it is.
No, that's us.
Oh, that's us.
That's you.
That's me, the one that
That's
I've just
me.
put up. There we go. Oh my God, we must have uploaded them pretty much at the same time.
We are rocking this evening. Look at us putting
my
so many
God.
videos up.
On like a car bonnet.
We are on it like a car bonnet. Here you go.
Hi,
then.
Sarah. I thought I'd just do a quick video for you, and also to explain a few things for everybody that is watching, because it's quite an extreme case, and I think it's worth just having a little comment on. I think everybody will benefit from it. I think you've done a fantastic job, Sarah. That was not an easy trim. That was difficult. I know that an awful lot of people are saying here you have to trim from below, which is the case, but in cases like this, where the hoof wall is simply just flying up into the air, there isn't really a below, because the hoof wall has just gone north. And so therefore, even if you did trim from below, you'd still have to take away all of that excess. So Sarah, you've done a fantastic job. Now, I know that people, I think, what have you said here? You said that it's one of your clients. It's the longest you've ever seen. I bet when you saw it, you nearly died. I bet you thought, oh God. Pony is arthritic. I can see that, because you can also see that her fetlock joints, is it her, are swollen. Both back legs, and has twisted foot. I'm keen to keep the heels down. That's important. And only rasping a little bit off the toe. You had no choice, I'm afraid. You had to do what you had to do there. I'm unsure how long this pony is going to take for it to grow out a new hoof. Well, that's why I'm really making this little video, because I want to talk to you about that. Have you rehabbed a pony like this before? Yes, but not into the extremes of this, but in terms of length. But yes, when it comes to is it right? Can you still see that?
Yeah.
Okay, right. So let me right. Okay, there you go. This is an end result, and you've done really well. And I know that we talk about you mustn't chop the toe off, and you mustn't do this, but in actual fact, there was no choice. If she wanted to get that massive, great big piece of horn that was going up in the air, Sarah didn't have much choice on this at all. So you've done a great job. In this instance, you know, that's life. That is what you had to do. But this is the interesting picture. So you can see here, can't you, that there really is a teeny weeny kind of healing angle, and that what should have actually happened with this horse, had the whole of P3 been intact inside, would be that the wall would come down and it would just start to curl in places, but you should have been able to still see a decent sole, and the hoof wall shouldn't have gone beyond where it did at the toe. I mean, it goes out. What do I mean by that? Okay, what I mean by that is that it shouldn't have gone so far up into the air like that. That's not just through a process of walking. That's just through a process of the fact it's not been trimmed, but also the fact that the wall is not growing properly. So what I'm basically saying is that even though this horse had these crazy looking feet, that I do not think, and you go back and watch it, I'm not going to play it all now, but go back and watch it. I don't think that P3 is very healthy inside that foot. And of course, the only way that we will know that is if we end up having x-rays. And you can see I talk about these little patches here. These indicate to Gary and I that those patches mean that there's infection under there. And oftentimes when there's not, well, when P3 is in full-on significant osteonecrosis, that can't form sole. So really, that's why I did the video. But Sarah did a fantastic job. And has anybody got any questions about that? Because I'm going to stop sharing now. You can, otherwise I'll end up having a conversation with myself on the screen, as Gary just sent to me and made me laugh. Oh God. Oh. Yeah. So long toes. It comes at us in all different flipping angles, doesn't it? We have long toes going up. We have long toes going that way. We have long toes going that way. They can go that way too, right? Well done, Sarah. Absolutely. Well done. And you know, a lot of people quite rightly looked at it and went, oh my God, no, you've taken too much because you were exposing the lamini. There was nothing she could do at that point. Unfortunately, at that point, that in order to get that excess off, that was probably as far down as she could go. Was a mess. But it wasn't. It's the horrific looking feet, the curly feet that make people go, oh my God, oh my God. But actually, with feet like that, if you had a pedal bone that was correct and you weren't, you know, you wouldn't have feet like that if your pedal bone was all present and correct. That's why we think that it needs x-rays, but I don't know whether the owners are going to be prepared to do that. But yeah, interesting. Nikki says, fabulous, amazing. Yeah, did really well. Jenny says, whoops, look at the situation for Sarah and where having to remove tops from top was necessary. Yeah, it was. It wasn't growing. If P3 was there and you had laminitis and the foot grew, it would grow a bit like flumps. It would still be growing out. It wouldn't be going up. The fact that it's going up means that it when it got to a very certain point, it couldn't keep going down. It only ended up going up because it lost its guide, because P3 is the hoof wall's guide. It is the hoof wall's guide, and it had lost its guide. The toe had already, basically.
I think it's important to say as well that if we hadn't have seen those long toes, we probably would have questioned it. But when you still look at those images, you can see that the healing angle isn't coming in at it doesn't look steep enough. And also the other telltale sign was that the angle of the coronary band was good. It wasn't horizontal. So the heels actually, even though I don't know how much, because we didn't see the underside of the foot, we don't know how much heel Sarah took off or was able to get down to the hard sole plane. But I don't expect it was that much. I don't expect it was that much. Not compared with everything else. Not compared with everything else.
No. Kim says, do you find hooves grow differently and change during your seasons? Here in Southern Ontario, the feet look different from the horses in dry areas of the US. Yeah, you know, if you spend enough time going around the UK, Gary and I were only talking about this earlier. I mean, a hoof's a hoof, right? But if they live on quite wet ground, and in the UK, let me tell you, it's quite wet a lot of the time, and in a lot of places in Europe, it's quite wet. That they get a lot of thrushy issues. Their frogs aren't leathery, particularly for great periods of the year. And if you see how some people carve into certain to frogs, if you did that on a lot of the feet in the UK, you'd end up causing a massive amount of problems for these horses. So things like they just sort of get drier, and the frogs get leatherier the drier the climate. Now we all know that, because as trimmers in the summertime, when it does get hot, the feet do get harder. They do feel harder to trim. You know, your rasp is skating across them. So it's not that they change in the respect of the morphology, really. Although if you go to the Camargue and you see Camargue horses, people will tell you that the Camargue horses, because they live on very wet ground, end up having quite splayed feet. But I think a lot of those also have not what Equus would term a particularly healthy foot, to be honest. So yes, they adapt with a small a to their environment, but in actual fact, it's because they're not in a very species appropriate environment for them, which is why their feet don't look like they should do, like the horses in the Great Basin. Or in fact, many horses in lots of places in the world where it's very hot and arid. You see that the feet look a bit different because they're more like Mother Nature designed, frankly. When hooves like that, where do you start the trim? Well, you do start from you start by picking it up and having a look at what you've got to do below. But once you've done everything you can do below, and you've still got foot like that, then you go, right, well, I know where the end of the foot is now because I've kind of excavated it underneath. I know exactly where I need to be. Now I know where I can take that foot off. And so all credit to her. That was not, I bet when she turned up, if she didn't know what she was coming to when she turned up, I bet she was like, holy hell. And unfortunately, you know, that pony has got arthritis. He's stiff. He's got swollen fetlocks, swollen pasterns. That's all we could see at the time on the images that she showed. Now, he's going to have arthritic changes. Arthritic changes not only in the leg but also in the hoof capsule. That's what Gary and I were. That's what we did the video. So, if that owner is prepared to do an X-ray, we would. You know, it's important to find out what state P3's in and how much arthritis that horse has got, really, because it's not fair to keep animals shuffling along if they are never going to get better. It's okay to have an animal that isn't in pain but has changes. That's all right, and that maybe is in a little bit amount of pain that you could perhaps now and again keep going under a certain amount of painkillers. But when you're actually propping an animal up because they are in such a lot of pain every day, all day, questions have got to be asked. And it's not the animal's fault. It's the environment and everything that happened to that animal usually that caused it to have all of those issues. So, yeah. Thank you. That makes sense. Right. So, what else should we talk about tonight? I thought we could talk about the gut. So, do we have questions about the gut? I mean, you can talk about whatever you want. You can guide us if you like. We could go back down the Phoenix page and have a look at some of the members' posts. You tell us what you'd like to do tonight. Very much. I've done my sermon this evening. I did that on HM. I'm not doing another sermon. And people want to see.
Bet there's another one coming before the night is out.
There's another one boiling, simmering. It's simmering. I'm thinking, what can I talk about? I think the overriding theme of my sermon was get out of the lab. Get out of the lab. Stop looking at dead legs. Get out of the lab. I think that was kind of it, really. Vivian says caudal heel failure. Okay. Yes, we can talk about caudal heel failure. Jolene, did you ever discuss my post about breakover? Oh, God. Now, are you asking me to have a memory? Truly?
Have you seen how many posts that we get each day? I can't remember, Jolene, in all honesty. I really can't remember.
You'd have to find a link. Do you know much about the effects of bute on the gut and can it cause inflammation? Pretty please. Okay. Right. We'll talk about caudal hoof failure briefly because I think that deserves, and it's not rocket science lesson, but what is caudal hoof failure? Right. I'm going to try and find you a photograph. I'm going to try and find you a photograph of one of our lovely, she won't mind if I show you this. I know she won't. One of our lovely HMB Pro students, and she is currently rehabbing I'm going to put it on a whiteboard. So I'm going to find it. She's currently rehabbing a mare who is a thoroughbred mare who has been in shoes for quite a long time. And she has big time caudal hoof failure. So hang on, I want to find a back shot. All right. This, oh, hello. Copy image. Right, I'll share it so you can see what I'm putting up on the screen, and then you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, share. Whiteboard. There you go. That looks pretty, doesn't it? She won't mind me showing you these. I know she won't, because it's all a big learning experience, right? Now, what tends to... Okay, here we go. This is a good one. Now, this mare, we know, because we've had her x-rayed, so we know what's going on inside. But let's just look at these for a minute. First of all, we can see that this is a foot that isn't very healthy, can't we? It's a thoroughbred foot. She's had plenty of abscesses. It's calming down now. You see these here, these been abscesses. Now, she does have, and I don't know if I can find an x-ray for you. Might be able to find an x-ray if I can go back and pop along. Yeah, oh, come back. So what you see, oh, I don't know if it'll let me load it. So what you see here is you see this scooting out because she's had laminitis for a very long time. And you also see something else, which is very low heels. And this has not been trimmed now, this foot, for, in this, I think it's about 10 weeks. Why haven't we trimmed it? Well, as you can see, it's got a little bit of underrun heel there, but it has absolutely got nothing when it comes to the frog. Let me see if I've got a, yeah, let's take it. This is an image. So this horse has full on caudal hoof failure. Right, let's just blow that up again. So looking at it this way, we're like, oh yeah, you gotta, you know, bring those heels back a little bit more, and all of this is way above the hard sole plane. Well, as you can look here, it's not that much above the hard sole plane, so that is deceiving. So be very careful when you see shots like this, that's what the advice that you give, because it's deceiving. So this is an incredibly poorly foot. It's a lot better now than she was. It was very, very, very on dodgy ground at the beginning. But you see here, there's absolutely nothing. There just appears to be no height. Well, this is because the digital cushion here is very puny. It is underdeveloped, and it has atrophied. Do you see? There's really no substance here at all. So by just taking these heels back, you know, to the hard sole plane, here's look, we think this is the hard sole plane. By just taking it all the way back here, you're actually going to compromise this animal even more, and she's going to be hurting if you do that. You can see in the past that she's got a bit of scar tissue here where she's abscessed in the past, and you see that the frog is very contracted, and you can see that this central sulcus is you know, it's deep, it's rubbing together. It shouldn't be like that. Now the sole looks better. It looked a lot worse than this. Those telltale signs of infection. She spends her time in and out of boots, and she's very happy. She's with a little herd. She's been rehabbing her for 7 months or so, maybe a bit longer than that. And it's going to take a long time. Will she ever get better? Well, she will get better than she is now. I can't find it. I can, but it won't let me open it for some reason. Just won't let me open it. What does everybody think of that? What does everybody think of that? Do you understand what we're saying when we say caudal hoof failure? Right, here I have got the x-ray. I'm going to show you the x-ray. All right. It's off a computer, so Let's just blow it up. Do you see? Can you see what's happened? Look here.
There's nothing, is there? Nothing at all.
That is caudal hoof failure. In other words, there's her digital cushion, which sits all underneath the frog, and all here is not there's sort of, you know, the clue is in the word cushion. That's not really cushioning an awful lot. And this was a few months ago. So her foot now, she's got a little bit more integrity here now. And it's a very difficult kind of rehab. These are I find that these are often the harder rehabs than probably any other rehab. Even the ones that have P3 penetration, you know, will go through a period of, oh, ow, ow, it's really not very nice, it's horribly painful, and then the sole begins to regenerate, and before you know it, they're okay. These are the harder ones, because these take a long time, and sometimes they never, taken me 2 years. And sometimes they, you know, they're never brilliant. So, but our student knows about that, and she's got lots of support with us, and she's got her on a track with other horses, and she's happy. We've just got to help her grow more foot. And as you can see, you look in there, and she's not got a huge amount of, she's had a little bit of remodeling. There has been a little bit of remodeling going on. She has lost some of P3 here, but not extensively. But can you just see how she used to be once upon a time a little bit further on a tip? Can you see how it's just basically flat to the ground? There's just nothing going on. She has got separation, but all that you see out there is more to do with the fact that the foot there's just not enough substance in the foot. She's got very thin soles. She'll have better sole depth now, but these are the ones that are the trickiest. So it's all about diet, management, movement, and you're also in a very tricky situation because she can't cope on all ground, even soft ground, that much, or she couldn't. So you spend a lot of time in boots, and then that becomes a problem because that's not really properly stimulating the foot. So these are the harder rehabs. I find that of all the rehabs of all, these are the really difficult ones. The ones with caudal hoof failure are difficult. Really difficult. Wouldn't you agree, Gary?
Yeah, for sure. Because it's very much a waiting game. You want to give them as much movement as they can because they've got to build the back of the foot back up, and they can only do that with constant movement that they feel comfortable that they can do. That's why it's a slow game. It's slowly developing the back of that foot, and it's just horrendous that she was able to get into that state in the first place, isn't it?
So what the traditional world would do is they would shoe this foot. They would put wedges in, pads. They would put shoes on her, and that's what put her in this place in the first place. Somebody asked what started it, and what puts them in this place is shoeing. Caudal hoof failure is all about shoeing. It's all about the horse not being able to use the back of its foot properly. And it doesn't happen to every foot, but thoroughbreds are a classic because they're quite low anyway, and they are meant to be, you know, the athletes of the equine world. But for that, they have a very honed foot hoof capsule that's you know, like the carbon fiber hoof capsule. It's got everything in there that it needs to be very functional. But when you start sticking shoes on it, things happen, and this is one of the things that happen. So what the traditional world would do is lop that off. They'd take the toe off completely. They'd put nails all in here, and she's not got a lot of, as you can see here, they just chop everything off. And if we look on this one, she's almost flat to it anyway. There's barely anything. So they'd remove all the toe, remove everything, because they'd think that the toe is causing the toe. The more that all of this goes forward, it's pulling the foot forward. No, it's just growing in that way. But this isn't causing all of this. You know, it's not cool. You can see that the separation is there, but what's causing it is the fact that the foot just doesn't have that substance at the back. So that's what the traditional equine world would do. Well, rather than causing, you know, and you're trying to prop the horse up using pads and wedges and shoes or composite materials, and you're not helping that back of the foot develop, like Gary just said. You're really not helping the foot develop. Okay, you're trying to give the horse comfort, but we can do that in boots. You can give the horse comfort in hoof boots and not cause more damage by more contraction. And it's a topsy-turvy thing, isn't it? They're going, oh, well, if we shoe it and we shut the foot down more and we cause more concussion through the foot and we cause more atrophy at the back of the foot, will help. It's not going to help. That's what got her there in the first place. The only thing that's going to help is if we allow her to develop her foot. You can see she's not got any ring bone, so that's good. It's just that she's failed at the back of the foot. Do people understand that? Do you understand what I've just in? Who was it? It was Vivian, wasn't it? Is that okay, yeah. Vivian? CD toe. Somebody said CD toe. Jolene's put the thingy up there. Margaret, this issue of how do hooves grow but still stay attached was my absolute light bulb moment at the Long Marsh workshop. Oh, that was fun. We're coming again. You're coming again to that one, aren't you? Very excited about that. My pony had a huge turnaround once she was weaned away. I replaced it with a no bute alternative. Oh, well, that's on the bute. Yeah, okay, we can talk about that in a minute. Rebecca, what causes it? Chewing. Not allowing the back of the foot to do what it's meant to do naturally. Taking the back of the foot away from the ground and not allowing the back of the foot and the hoof mechanism to all work together. And laminitis doesn't help. All of it. The whole 9 yards is what's caused that. Somebody says it's taken 2 years. Who's that, Gary? Do you know who that is? It's taken me 2 years.
That was Jane Smith, I believe.
Yes, Shannon. Exactly.
Yeah.
Similar to Ted. Very, very similar to Ted. So that's Shannon, who's one of our HMB pros students, and she is also rehabbing a pony who is very similar to this mare. Mine was because he was stuck in a stable for 7 years before I got him. That sort of stuff, all of that. If you're not moving, you got the foot I mean, how many horses spend how many hours not being, you know, I'm shoeing my horse because I'm going to ride it on the roads because it's a bit footsore, and I ride 3 times a week tops for an hour. So for 3 hours a week, and that's a lot of people don't even do that, do they, through the winter? 3 hours a week, and for all the other hours of the week, my horse is stuck in shoes on all 4 as well. You know, so for 168 hours is in a week minus the 3 hours you go out riding. So for 165 hours a week, the reason that you put shoes on your horse for 165 hours of that week, he didn't need them. And when you go out, why don't you just put hoof boots on if your horse is a little bit footy? Because if you continue to do these practices, we're going to continue to have that. And then we look at that caudal hoof failure and we go, oh, crikey, you know, we got to prop it up now. Well, you caused it in the first place by, you know, a horse just doesn't go, oh, the back of the foot's going to fail now. You could see she had contraction. You could see she had all of those things that were going on. That's my dog. I don't know why she's barking. Pierce says, I was just wondering the same thing that Sarah asked. My mare was running today with boots and without them. She's sore. Okay, we can we can have a look at the boots. Is caudal hoof failure related to NPA? Yes, it can be indeed. Yeah, you can have, just like that mare, you can have a failed back of the foot, and it usually is on hind feet NPA, but they've left more material at the toe, and so consequently then if you go to, because it's not balanced from heel to toe, and then that's what causes the P3 to tip to go up in the air. And then when you do balance it, if you see a foot like this, you go, oh yeah, I'm just going to balance it from heel to toe. Now you're like, oh, now we get into this situation where we're like, we've still got a poorly back of the foot. So what you're trying to do is make sure P3 is in the right position. So it isn't, so it's balanced from heel to toe. And when we took these x-rays, our student was like, oh, I see that I wasn't properly balancing to the toe. So she's done that. It's not going to help. The caudal hoof failure is there. We've got to get P3 in the right position. And then we've got to support the foot and make, and the diet and the management, get her moving, and then just cross your fingers that she's going to develop over time and that she doesn't have 101 abscesses. So, but she stopped abscessing now, which is a good thing. Thanks. Did you ever see one with wide heel but caudal hoof failure? Yes, you can see, you can have very poor digital cushions. Well, you can have poor digital cushions on a wider frog, but it nearly always is in a situation like this. I don't think I've even got one image to show you. And when we say a wider foot, is it a healthy frog? I mean, it's all about the frog. It's all about the digital cushion. It doesn't have to be contracted, if that was your question, but you see, mostly they are contracted. That is what you mostly see. I come to see these, and as soon as I see them, and they exhibit that very flat looking foot. They look flat. They've not got a lot of substance to them, because, you know, in terms of depth of sole, you just know that, and you turn up and you go, oh no, because you know that those are going to be the harder ones. I think in my career, those have always been the harder rehabs, and I think Gary would agree with that. They are the harder rehabs. The ones that have...
when you lose, if you don't use it, you lose it. And when it's been lost like that, it takes a long time for it to rebuild. Just like when you chop off the toe, it can't make contact with the ground. So therefore, it's not being stimulated with those all-important papillae. And therefore, you've taken it off, you lose it. Same scenario. So it's a slow process for that hoof wall to grow down when the toe is chopped off. When the caudal heel, when the back of the foot is really, really underdeveloped, that's also going to take an awful lot of time to build back up. So the two things go very much hand in hand. But like Lindsay said, the caudal hoof failure is much harder to build back up. And I think also it has a real impact, particularly on these thoroughbreds, that because they are shod and worked from such a young age. You think that these animals don't stop growing until they are at least 6 years old, and they're being raced at sometimes under 2.
Yearlings races.
Yearlings and so on. And you think to yourself that they're being put into shoes when we already know that the digital cushion is of a different substance. It's not a different substance. What's the word? The digital cushion has to grow and
mature,
get strong and mature with the horse. So in the racing world, particularly when they're shod, because I know that there are a number of people coming around now that are racing barefoot. Is it any wonder that when we end up putting this clamp on the foot that is trying to grow and be strong, it is restricted at such a young age?
And the foot is growing so
criminal.
fast when they're young. Yeah, it's
Criminal.
crazy.
It really is.
It's
It is
crazy.
really criminal.
Absolute. It is. It's criminal. And the digital cushion. So it's quite likely that this mare, as in fact we find with probably most of them, like Gary said, is quite likely that she, because we don't know the full history, do we, most of these, that she was shod from a young age because she was a thoroughbred and she just, you know, she needed shoes and people wanted to get on board and people wanted to do things and it, you know, that incredible digital cushion, one of the unsung heroes of the horse's hoof, which is quite fatty when they're born. It's quite a fatty substance and it's fibrofatty, and it starts to turn into this sort of fatty, cartilagey kinds of, it's got more strength to it as it gets older and it matures, obviously, because as the horse gets heavier and gets bigger, it needs to develop at the same time. But if you've got a horse that's getting bigger and heavier, but you shut that development down, now what have you got? You've got a horse going, actually, the foot I've got's it's no good for me anymore because you didn't let it develop. It shouldn't be happening. So yeah. Vivian says she's got images, make a story about it. Do that. That would be fabulous. I'd love to see that. And I could dig out some more pictures of you of what you're talking of wider frogs, but off the top of my head, that was the one that I went to because I know that gives a really good, we've got some great pictures of it. You can really see that really pathetic back of the foot. Yeah. Okay, that was good. Hey, from Southwest Missouri. Hello. Right.
That's
okay.
Heather Lee White.
Sarah said, I know she put it up here somewhere. Where did you put it, Sarah? Sarah's question's here. Can I ask a question? When is the correct time to use boots, and when do you take the plunge to take the boots off when your pony is rehabbing? My vet said not to use them for not to use them for Squire. We are now starting to see the stretch coming through the cell. Use them at any time. Why? Can you tell us why your vet said that? Did you question him? So when's the right time to use hoof boots? When your horse is not sound. So they'll get sounder on the soft paddock first. Then the next bit will be the flat concrete and the flat roads, and then it'll be rougher ground. And that is exactly the process. So they get sounder on. They look like they're sound in the field. Then they take them out and they're like, ooh, ooh, ooh. And then they're sound in the field. They're on concrete now. They're fine. And then they're ooh, 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 on the rougher ground. And then when they go sound on the field, sound on the flat ground, sound on the rougher ground, yay. But you take your horse out of the field and they've got to walk across the concrete and they can't, don't put boots on if you can get boots to fit. It's important. But when you're rehabbing horses that have got stretch, then you've got to be prepared to know that you're likely to change your hoof boot maybe 2 or 3 times. But if you get the diet and the management right, you'll be surprised how quickly they can come out of boots when you're rehabbing them. And then owners that are in situations where they're in a livery yard, for instance, they can't change the diet and the management that easily. They can make inroads into that diet and the management, but then they put hoof boots on because they know that when the horse goes out, it's not going to cope on some of the rougher tracks, for instance. But it's not like when do you use them? What you use them, but you don't. I very rarely will I ever say hoof boots 24/7 or in a paddock. It does happen because we have horses like this, but that's not common. Those are the rarer ones. if your horses come out of shoes, oftentimes I'm like, I'll just stick them out in the field now or on the tracks. But if the track is rough, when you've got to wear hoof boots for a while, and they turn around very, very quickly, actually. So you use hoof boots when you need them, and you try and get your horse out of them as much as possible. What I would strongly suggest when you're going down the hoof boot route is you do not buy pads that are wedge shaped, because there's a lot of them out there. Don't buy pads that are wedge shaped. Patches. That's like pad and wedge. I'm losing it. Patches. So
You're
don't
making up your own words now.
don't try not to do that. Those aren't, especially on horses that have got P3 rotation and they're recovering from that. It wouldn't be so bad on a mare like this, for instance, but if you're on a horse that's got rotation, which is actually the more common thing, we see that all the time, then you certainly don't want to be putting a wedge pad under an animal like that, because that would not be good. Yeah, so Pia says, I was running the same thing. My mare was running today with boots, and without them she's sore, not badly, but moving slow. It's fine. No, use them. Don't think, oh my God, if I'm using, because boots come off when they go, when they go back and they go onto their home tracks or their home whatever, then it shouldn't take them too long to turn around, unless you've got a mare like, or a horse like this, that one that we've just been showing you. If you've got a horse like that, it's going to be trickier. It's going to, you've got to keep them in a boot for as long as possible. In fact, with horses, even with penetration, they're not in boots for that long. And in fact, actually, we don't always put them in boots. We put them in nappies just to protect underneath, because obviously we've got the heels back. So it's no longer like that anymore. It's like that. It's like that. And so when we've got the heels back, then we tend to put them in nappies if there is any seepage of blood, etc., or if they're going to get an abscess, which they don't always do. But those are dramatic, really dramatic to look at, but turn around really well, in fact. And the veterinary industry doesn't know that. They look at these horses and go, that's it, because they can't be saved, and that's poppycock. They've got more chance than these horses that have got caudal hoof failure, really. They've definitely got more chance. She said that he needed to contact with the floor. He is pretty sound. If you're sound, you don't need them. And I think we've also got to be real about something else as well, which is very, very important. If you've got a horse that has had an acute laminitic attack, that damage is still in there, even though you might not be able to see it. It's inside the hoof capsule. It's got to grow out. So one of the things I find abhorrent, actually, and again, it is just the equine world, is that a horse will be laminitic, footsore. That's why they're footsore, right? Because they're laminitic, or they've got P3 in the wrong position, and they get shod. And obviously, we're not talking about that here, but they get shod and then they get ridden. That's not right, And if you've got, and many people have a horse that's chronically laminitic and then it becomes acute, and then they're like, oh, well, when can we get you can't. You've got to wait now. It's like an athletic injury. You have to wait for that foot to recover, and the body too, because it's not just being in the body. So don't rush it. Take it easy. Take your time. Get him right. Because if you can get him right and get that, he's got to have time off now. He's not been very well. He can walk. He can do as much natural walking as he like. Get him on the track with the others. Get him moving around. He'll get better and better and better. but we seriously don't suggest that you get back on and ride a horse until you've got the full hoof capsule grown out. A long time, 9 months, yeah, maybe, but you've then got all those years in the future where it's never going to happen again, because you'll never let it happen again, because you've learnt and it will never happen again. Get it right the first time, and then you don't have to dip in and out and in and out. They ping pong in and out all the time.
On that note, I have a theory. I'm going to go off on a slight tangent.
I'll talk Bethan in a minute. Gary's
Sorry,
going off.
well, I'm taking a slight detour. I've had this bit of a theory about the toe chopping. I actually think that the toe chopping is possibly because they can't stand that long toe, and because they still want to ride them.
That's not a bit of a
think
theory.
I think that is a big
of course it is. That's where breakover comes from.
That's where breakover comes from, and all of that. Not that breakover is an issue, but it is an issue when you've got a long toe. Once you've put a rider on its back, and the rider is, and the horse is then being forced to move in a certain way because the rider is telling it to. The horse has not got free choice of being able to move its feet in its own way, in its own free choice when it's got a rider on. That's the difference.
In fact,
you chop off the toes and it means that, oh, that problem's disappeared.
Yeah, that's another issue.
And it's not. It hasn't.
It
hasn't. So yes, let the hoof grow out.
We got it there in the first place. Now we've got to give the horse time to recover if you want to have that horse into the future. Somebody said the other day, or I think on our post, on the page, just very recently, and I can't remember who it was, but said that who was sort of playing devil's advocate, I think, for the toe, and saying that with her horse, when it had a longer toe and she was riding, it was tripping. Well, tripping is a whole thing that we could talk about, because tripping is not what everybody thinks it is for a horse. Usually it isn't that, because it's got a lot, because we're not the same. We're bipeds versus quadruped biomechanics. It's different. And we could talk about that another time. But if the horse has got separation to that extent, you shouldn't be on their back riding them. I chopped the toe off to make the breakover better. That's not what should be happening. And we're hiding it from owners all the time. Not we, the hoof care industry is hiding it from owners all the time. We have footage of a well-known farrier on the internet, because his client came to us, and he's very well known on the internet, and we've got entire footage of the entire session that he turned up to shoe this one horse who had laminitis, and not once did he talk about the diet with the owner. We've got the whole thing. She videoed the lot, not for us, she just videoed it for herself, but then sent it to us. It was good old well over an hour. Not once did he talk about diet and management in the whole time. He was with another farrier. He was with the farrier that he was teaching the other farrier. They were discussing, they were sort of doing this a lot, going, oh, looking at the foot and going, oh, what can we do? They then decided to put wedge pads in. He didn't have any on his wagon, so he asked the other farrier if he had some. They said yes. So they were playing around with it. They were putting personal preference to it. But while he was actually trimming it, you could see he had the muscle memory. I mean, the guy had skill, of course, but he chopped the toe off completely to bring it back. And he just kept saying, bring it. We're going to bring the breakover back, breakover back, breakover back. So he chopped off because he's saying it's going to, drag the foot forward. Well, that's not true. That's just the way the foot grows. And that's not true anyway, because if you keep it down to the hard sole plane, it's just not what's happening. It will grow out. We've got to get this breakover back. And then what I'm going to do, he said, and he was feeling it. So he completely removed the toe and the laminar wedge. And he had a wedge. Oh, this horse has had laminitis, so he doesn't need this now. Gary and I were watching it going, okay. So then he got his shoe and he set the shoe back to pressure on the sole now from the shoe. But he's got pads in there, right? So he's thinking that that's okay. I don't think he used imprint material, but it would have just been the sort of thing that they would have used. And then he put the foot up, tidied it all up, of course, went right through the outer hoof wall and the inner hoof wall too. Little bit of lamina showing at the bottom. So really, really made it look lovely, neat and tidy. What does the owner then think? Oh, on board I get. Oh, my horse hasn't got laminitis anymore because they've hidden it and made it look pretty. Well, we don't think it's pretty. And there was no discussion about the fact that this horse was suffering. And subsequently, that horse lost his life, actually, because she tried so many times to get vets, different farriers. The person I'm talking about, she had an online consultation with at great expense with her farrier, and it cost her a lot of money, at which point he then said he would come as well. She had to pay for everything, the travel for him to get to her when he got there. It was, I mean, she must have paid in excess of £700 for this person to come and have the consultation and to do what he did once. But prior to that, vets had told her to do this. They'd jacked him up in heart bar shoes. They'd put him in all sorts. They'd done all sorts of things to him. And every single, because he was not getting better, and every single time he was shod, they did it slightly different every time. And when this guy did it, he did it different to the other. They were doing it different all the time. And this horse's feet were doing this between every trim. Plus, nobody had said to the owner, he's got laminitis, right? Can't we see this big stretch? She didn't see it because it kept getting chopped off. And everybody all talked about breakover. When really somebody should have said to her, he's really, quite poorly. He's got chronic laminitis. He's got stretch. Can't you see it here? We need to get him off the grass. We need to get him onto a track, or at least something where he's not eating grass. Let's fix him. It was too late when she came to us and to Gary.
She tried hard. She tried really,
and
really
she
hard.
Tried so
She
hard.
tried hard, but it was just too little, too late.
She tried hard, and she was one of those owners that documented everything. Hence the reason we had this video. Everything was documented.
Very conscientious. Very conscientious.
And it wasn't through neglect. She chucked money at this horse like you wouldn't believe. She loved him and wanted to save him, but not one person actually went, get him off the grass, let his feet recover, and he might survive. That didn't happen. And when she came to us, she tried, but he didn't survive because he'd given up. He'd had enough. And that's, I'm not going to say who it is, but it's a very popular person on Facebook that I dare say every single one of you knows. Not in America, in the UK. And what was he doing for that? Yeah, did he do a good job? Well, in terms of farriery terms, I suppose he did. He made it look nice, neat and pretty. But did he do the job that he should have done for that horse? No, he didn't. And that's the problem with the equine world. Because the horse lost his life and she's paid handsomely for it, and he paid for it with his life. And it wasn't that long after that event that happened, maybe a year. And he could have at that point then gone, whoa, let's just put the brakes on this moment. Let's not just try and make this foot look amazing. Let's realize that this foot is poorly. This horse is poorly. Now, when she had that consultation with him, he was telling her to put all kinds of things on when using imprint material and wedges and all of this. What? He should have gone, well, the sort of consultation I have with people, and they think they're going to come on and they're going to get hoof care advice. I look at the hooves and I go, right, what are you doing with the diet and the management first and foremost? Let's get that sorted first. And then let's stop buggering around with the horse's feet and let the horse develop the foot that it needs. This is the problem with the equine world, and it's appalling. You know, when you do the job that we do, my God. And then you get people who come on and play devil's advocate and want to say, well, why don't you chop the toe over? Why don't you bring the brake over back? And you're like, because you're hiding the problem. Don't hide it. Embrace it.
Own it.
Own it. O-N-O-W-N. Own it. You know? So would it be safe to try Squire on my new track without boots? It's got a gravel surface, but you try it. If he goes, ow, you put hoof boots on for a little while. And then a little while later, it'd be like, oh, no, I'm okay, Sarah. It's just a process. It's okay. Don't worry about it. You've not failed because he's not barefoot. It is a process. He's been poorly. He's getting over it. Hoof boots are brilliant for that. Equine fusions particularly. Did Bethan got on there and she said, yeah, so equine fusions are my boot of choice. I think they're Bethan's boot of choice for rehab. They've got flexible soles. You can put pads in. They're wide. They're full cover boots. They don't rub. Obviously, you don't want them spinning, although, you know, that's better than nothing, but you don't want them preferably doing that. They are good. If they're just good boots for rehab. They are, and they're good boots anyway, full stop. You don't, not just for rehab, because they're the only boot on the market where they were, and they were trying to patent their flexible sole, but I think somebody's just jumped in to try and, yeah, I can only get 2 Cavallo's size to fit, as he is wide but not long. Have you spoken to well, Grace does it, but have you spoken to Grace would need to see it, but have you spoken to the Hoof Boutique and got them on board and spoken to them? But that's fine. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what boot it is. You get the boot for at this moment in time. Again, chop the toe off because it'll fit the boot. No. We only literally had that the other day with a new client. I think if you've watched these lives enough, you'd have known that was a situation that we were in. Gary finished trimming, and through the trim was saying to this lady, there's separation here. Not really grasping it. Lovely lady, but not really grasping the situation. And then when Gary finished and the feet were on the ground, she tapped the right foot with her boot. Tapped it and went, this one, Gary, looks a bit long. And Gary was like, and the other lady that knows us that was with us was just sort of going, oh God.
She was hiding in the corner.
Oh God, no, don't. You've literally got Gary and Lindsay in your stable with your horse. And you're telling them that the toe's too long. Don't you? Well, she
wanted to curl up and die, didn't she?
She just wanted to curl up and die, I think.
But I have to say, it didn't really ring home, because this lady's got 3 horses, and one of them had quite significant separation. But she didn't notice it until we pointed out on the other 2 horses that there was no separation. When she could see that there was no separation, she had something to work to. It made it the light bulb moment. Let's say it went.
Never seen it.
Went click. But isn't it interesting that this lady was a horse trainer for 25 years? Isn't that interesting?
But she wanted to fit him in the hoof boots. And I said, is he unsound? She went, no. I said, what are you putting him in hoof boots for? To protect his feet? I said, from what?
Yeah.
No. And you have just mentioned the one boot. I don't know who that is. The one boot that was designed to very much on the cloud boot was designed for you to be able to put different inserts in and stuff, wasn't it? Right. Very much as a rehab boot, but very much based on traditional ways of doing things. You can even, I think you can even rocker them, I think. No, you can use a cloud boot, but don't put those wedges and stuff inside them. You can put pad in them, but don't put any wedges inside. Think about P3. Always be thinking about P3. I'm going to make them flat. But she has P3 penetration. Who is this? Is this the same person? I don't know who this is.
I'm not sure. I've lost track.
So she's a few down from Bethan. If you can find Bethan, could you ever test flex boots? I think flex boots. I quite like flex boots. I think there's some really cool boots that are out there. You know, I really do. Again, for some people, the cooler they look, the more they're more likely to have boots. That sounds flippant, doesn't it? But people like cool looking things. You like cool looking bridles, cool looking saddles, cool looking, you know, rugs. I think hoof boots are the future, certainly at the moment, for forever, for horses, for helping them. But doesn't it really tell a tale that there are so many horses out there that either need shoes or hoof boots that can't walk around on their own 4 feet?
It was a lady called Carolyn Darr.
Oh, Carolyn Darr. Was it you that said that about the wedge pads? Think of where P3 is in. Yeah, if you put a wedge pad in the,
you don't want to be tipping it.
You're tipping P3. Don't do that.
The importance is
pad, yeah.
The trim. The trim is right. That's why.
Again, with these, if there's no, if it depends whether there's toe wall as well, depending on whether you'll need a pad or not. But oftentimes, when they've got P3 penetration, if there's toe wall there, they don't need all of that. You'd be surprised. Everybody freaks out about P3 penetration because it looks awful and the horse is hurting. But like I said, that things like caudal hoof failure are the harder ones to rehab. She is having a hard. Oh yeah, then if she's having a hard time, put her in the boots. Yes. Don't force any movement though. Let her move. Ted told me when he didn't want his boots on anymore, I would have preferred them to stay on, but he said no, he did indeed. They will do that after a while, actually. If they're not, they're like, they know exactly what you're doing. Of course they do. And they're like, no. Flex, you've got to have quite a good fit as they fit very snug, so not ideal for a laminitic foot. Thanks, Grace. Grace does quite a bit of hoof boot fitting. Oh my God, I think back to all the toddlers I popped on stumps. Pack. Don't know if I understand that. Popped on stumpy, not popped onto their stumps. Oh, I see. The toddlers you put on stumps back. God, why did that take me so long to realize what you just said? You think about, well, they were light, weren't they? The toddlers. I know, right? But we've got to be better carers for our horses when they are in this situation. It's not your fault. That's why toes are chopped off a lot of the time, is to hide the ugliness that will be there if you leave it. But the ugliness is a brilliant reminder for the owner that should never happen again.
Oh, for sure.
Is it okay to drive instead of ride a footsore horse? Of course not, if the horse is in really bad pain. No, really. It's happening everywhere, isn't it? That's why horses are in shoes, because they're footsore. But if they're footsore, there's a problem. Now, sometimes for some people, it's pretty much the only exercise an animal gets. You know, if you're at a yard and that horse is spending a lot of time inside the stable and the owner's like, I can't even put it out in the field, Lindsay, because I don't know what to do, right? Because there's grass in the field and etc., etc. Then yes, do something light with the horse. Maybe go out walking the horse. But when you put all the tack on, it's irresistible to a human almost to not push that horse to do a little bit more than it should. It's almost irresistible. So you kind of have to go, how far out of my life is it going to take me to get this pony right? That's why the old farriers years ago used to say, turn it away for 10 months, turn it away. And then you come bring the horse back, be like, oh my God, it's sound. You know, just give the foot time. The more you push all the time when you've got an animal that is not right, the longer it's going to take for that animal to recover, and the more potential damage you're gonna cause. Do you know the farrier Jim Ferry? He is one of the main educators in Scotland, and the farriers won't listen or advocate for a natural trim. My farrier turned up with a cadaver hoof to teach me Jim's method. No, I don't. Don't think I don't. But no. But I was at a conference with another very famous older man who is a farrier and used to be the chairman of the FRC, and they've done it that way for forever, right? So they don't think, they're not thinking about the biology of it. They're not thinking about, you know, they're thinking to give them their due, to be fair, they're thinking about comfort. They're trying to think about comfort, but they're not thinking about the knock-on effect of that. Well, I tell you what we can do, guys, for comfort. We'll stick a hoof boot on. Let's not stick nails in it and pretend that and then go, oh, you can ride it now. I've seen horses with horrible chronic laminitis on the internet, on YouTube, have their wedges removed to hide them, with exposed lamina put in a shoe, and then have video footage of the horse racing around with the owner on their back. And I'm like, what is this magical fix that everybody thinks that they're doing? It isn't a magical fix, and the horse will just simply break down at some point in the future because you've not fixed it. You've just ignored it. It's a massive warning sign, and the industry just wants to hide it. Farriers will tell you it's my job to make a horse sound enough for the owner to ride. That is not welfare. I'm sorry, but that's not welfare. Yes, my horse was just about to be referred to Jim Ferry, but just one HM trim and all was reversed. Who's that?
That's Mandy Pedden.
Trisha says, how are you received? Do you think you'd be received by holistic vets or vets who have studied traditional Chinese medicine? Oh, yeah. I mean, it depends. The trouble is, Trisha, they don't know hoof care. So Renee Tucker, who is an equine vet for 30 years in California, who was one of the first vet to ever come on to, who was an equine vet to ever come onto one of our original part 1 and part 2 courses. She won't mind me saying, our first conversation like this, where we got together and had a one-to-one, she admitted to me how little she knew about the foot, and yet she had been, you know, diagnosing stuff in the horse's foot for 30 years. And she also told me other things too, about how there's this political interplay, which is an interesting thing. There's this political interplay between vet practices and farriers, because, you know, vets tend to have their own, equine vets have their own pet farriers. So God forbid they ever fall out, because the vets know that the farriers go and see their clients every 6 weeks. So they have better relationships with the clients, their clients, which are the veterinary clients, than the vets do. And so one time, you know, if you've got a farrier that you don't think is doing a very good job, and you know, you go and tell your practice manager that you don't think you want to use it, and the practice manager turns around to you and says, or the boss turns around to you and says, can't stop using him because we'll lose some clients. Political nonsense, meant to be about horse welfare, not about horse welfare. That answers a lot of questions I had about him. His FP post do kind of make sense and show pretty feet, or in my opinion used to, before I found your guys. I haven't mentioned anybody's name. He is good God to the farriers here. I don't know who he is. I genuinely don't think I know who Jim Ferrier is. I'm going to hear your voice now, Lindsay, when I have a conversation with Squire. Here she is. Lindsay's on this side and Gary's on that side. Diddly diddly dee. Right, okay, right, off we go. We've finished. Hoof boutique is so helpful. Brilliant, brilliant. Bethan, in the early days, your life can be ruled by hoof boots. On hoof boots, off. On hoof boots, off hoof boots. But soon there are more days without the hoof boots, and then eventually they are sat on a shelf collecting dust, and they are a distant memory. That is where we will end tonight.
Exactly right.
Because that was perfect. And we will end on Bethan's wise words for you all, folks. The lady who uses probably hoof boots on rehabs more than anybody else. Those are the wise words from Bethan. Please go follow her page, Goresworth Track Livery. It is incredible. And on that note, an hour and 25 minutes later, how did we do that? We are leaving you to think about this question I have right here. Because we were going to talk about the gut, but this will lead us to talk about the gut tomorrow. 3 things I want to know about. 2 things in the horse's gut is produced continually, doesn't ever stop. 1 thing in the horse's gut is produced on demand. There are a few things actually that might be produced on demand. I want 2 things that are produced constantly that don't ever stop. Don't put it in the, no pros, as you're not allowed. And don't put it in the comments now. This is for tomorrow. 2 things that in the horse's gut that are produced constantly. And 1 thing that is produced on demand. Find me those 3 things. That is your quiz and homework for tonight, people. We'll see you tomorrow. It was a lovely, lovely live again with you all. It always is. All right. I hope you learned stuff.
Thanks
see
for
you
joining.
again soon. Bye-bye.
Ta-da.